Hello and welcome to QUIZZY Monday, our first QUIZZY Monday since we lost Only Connect last week. May it rest in peace. What a fantastic series it was, and what a great bunch of guests we had last week. But we've got a great pair of guests this week. This is the ROCHDALE themed edition of QUIZZY Monday. We have got two fantastic quiz show veterans in Andy Kelly and Barry Humphrey, and we got lots to talk about with Mastermind and University Challenge tonight. So I'm going to bring them onto the stream. And don't forget that you can send us your comments or questions. There's plenty you can try and find out from these two if you're interested in going on TV shows. So put them in the chat and we'll get to them during the course of the evenings. But now, without further ado, Andy Kelly and Barry Humphrey. Good evening, guys.
Hello.
Hi, Gareth. How are you doing? Hi, Baz. How are you?
Not so bad, mate. It's good job we turned up after all those graphics, isn't it?
well, there is that. So, what is it about ROCHDALE that makes it such a hotbed of TV quizzing?
Where do you begin with that, Baz?
Well, I don't know. I just know that you and I have to have conversations when there's a new show coming up. Who's going to apply, because they can't have two know-it-all
middle-aged.
So it's either you or me. So we have to coordinate these things.
Taking it in turns, very, very wise.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of like that for the middle-aged Northamptonshire thing with Nick Paul. So we've got a few comments in already. Gerard is saying, I'm missing that filling in my Monday sandwich. Pretty sure you mean Only Connect there, Gerard, but you never know. Catherine is saying she just hot-footed it from Sean Mullis's quiz. Hi, everyone. And Pam, who was on last week, and graced us with her presence after her Mastermind episode, is saying hi. Hi, Pam. Good to have you back, and hope Polly is with you. So, Mastermind tonight. It did feel a little bit odd not having Only Connect and Mastermind being a bit later. I won't lie. But what did you guys make of the subjects that we had tonight? There was a lot of chat about White House pets on Twitter.
I thought it was brilliant. I just thought if you're learning that, every fact was interesting and fun. I just imagine if you're learning that, every time you turn the page, you're going, oh, wow, I like that.
I think it's the other thing is it's so niche as a subject.
Yeah, brilliant.
They're going to go, we're having that because nobody's ever thought of that one before. And as soon as it came up, I thought this would be great. She was going to do it,
and yet bizarrely, Quiz League of London this week we had Joe Biden's dogs. So perhaps it's not such an outlier. Maybe there is
absolutely. I just thought it was. I thought it was. There was nothing. I don't think there was one question that I thought, oh, don't care. I thought it was just, whereas if you're doing, no disrespect to Edith Cavell, but there's a lot of names there, a lot of dry stuff. There was nothing dry about White House pets. It was great.
Yeah, and I think if you're a non-quizzer as well, and you're dipping into that first round of four sections or four sets of questions, that's the only one you're going to have a stab at or a punt at or even know anything about as well, which is often where I start with these sort of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think, however, we are missing the elephant in the room with Mastermind tonight.
Are we?
Yeah. Oh, I think so. As quiz show veterans, we must have spent a lot of disposable income on clothes with no logo. Whereas the Welter man clearly had a weird fish.
Wow.
Yes, he did. Yes,
he did.
Yeah.
The number of rubbish tops I've got with no logo on that I've bought purely as show clothes. It's just, there has to be some sort of consistency.
There was a time in the 1990s I had 3 shirts, which I just used to call the game show shirts. There was a plain blue one, a plain pink one, and a plain green one. And they've done more game shows than some quizzes, I think.
But yeah, I thought that there was another slight inconsistency as well. I know we always complain about these things, but throughout this series, there's been chat about surnames and corrections with first names. And the guy, I can't remember his name, I do apologize, answered Jimenez and wasn't corrected on it, which is fair enough, but, there's got to be some sort of consistency there.
Well, the thing that we've learned from people like Andrew Fanko and other contestants, Shanine was another one, was that Clive Murray doesn't actually make that correction whilst the round's going on. He films it later.
Yes,
a pickup. So he doesn't delay the round for the contestant, but he puts it in for the benefit of the viewers, and presumably they just missed that one or thought that maybe the first name wouldn't make any difference to people's appreciation of it.
Yeah. No, okay, that's fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, Barry, noticing the clothing thing, that was I was going to say on brand, but you're probably kicking yourself that you didn't know what brand it was.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just thought, as I say, the amount of money I've spent on that bloody stuff is.
That is very true, and it is one of these things. If you've never been on a TV show, they always say, we want bright colours. We don't want blue usually because sets are very often blue, and they don't want it too dark, which is a pain when most of your wardrobe is blue, as mine is. And you don't want close stripes, and you don't want logos. And so what ends up happening is you go to Tesco's or TK Maxx or whatever, and you rifle through looking for something that's garish and tasteless and hopefully quite cheap.
I think my worst set was when I had to go to Argentina to film a game show where I could potentially get very dirty. So I had to have, not only did I have to have 2 choices of clothes, I had to have 3 instances of the same 2 choices of clothes.
Oh, wow.
So,
man.
I wasn't, that was always going to be TK Maxx. That was, yeah.
Did you get some funny looks at TK Maxx when you're taking 3 of the same floral shirt with you to the till?
Well, I remember doing Deal or No Deal, Baz, and we had to take something like 14 or 15 shirts or tops.
The number of times, yeah.
And then what they did, and I just shudder to think about the money they spent on that program. But they dry cleaned every single shirt, regardless of whether it was like a £3 TK Maxx shirt or a Calvin Klein or something like that. It was they sent them away and they came back on hangers, dry cleaned in cellophane, and like for some of my t-shirts, the cellophane was worth more than the bloody t-shirt anyway.
Well. There's the inside knowledge there from Deal or No Deal. Did you win on that, Andy?
I did. Yes, I did all right on Deal. I was on very, very early doors, Gareth. I was contestant 27 or something like that. Oh. I think they had a couple of thousand over the end of the run, didn't they? But yes, I did okay. I dealt and took 20 grand. I took £20,000.
Very nice work.
You weren't expecting the chat to go into show clothes, were you, Gareth?
Well, it could go anywhere. Because Pam says she didn't spend very much on her banana T-shirt. There you go.
Good for you, Pam. Good for you.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing. Don't ever spend way too much on something you might only ever wear once. Or in the case of you, Andy, probably 20 or 30 times. So, Gerard, I still ended up doing Make Me an Egghead in a shirt the wardrobe department had found. So
well, absolutely. The first show I did, I've not been doing it quite as long as Andy has been doing it. I don't think anyone has. Was actually 1 versus 100, and so my first ever appearance was in a borrowed shirt.
The first ever show I did was I only took 1 shirt, only expecting to get on once. So they had to go into wardrobe because it was one of those carryover ones. It was Jeopardy back in the early days of Sky TV, and they found some old blazer in costume just to cover the shirt I'd been wearing previously, and I looked like I was going to dinner on the Titanic in this blazer. It's just preposterous. Anybody who knew me knew I wouldn't have ever had that anywhere near me. But don't read the form properly. That they'll dress you in whatever they want more.
Yep.
I mean, I promise we will get on to Mastermind if people are watching thinking, why are they not discussing the questions? But I have to say, have either of you done almost manipulated the wardrobe stuff? Because I had a shirt for a while, which was my lucky shirt, and I always wanted to wear it because I'd had some wins in it. So I got to the habit of taking other shirts that I knew wardrobe would reject, so that they had to let me wear my lucky shirt. Either of you been that nefarious and sneaky?
I don't think I've ever been that precious about it. I'm so self-conscious about which shirt I'm wearing. I'll just turn up and I'll know they'll pick the green one or whatever. So it's. I think if you're worrying about what colour shirt you've got on, you got less chance of winning. I think.
Well, now I know, but you get told that advice now. Good. So Mastermind, we had women astronomers from UK and Ireland. White House Pets, Edith Cavell, because I always thought that was Cavell, so I learned something tonight. And the Vuelta, and they all did pretty well. To be fair,
yeah, they did.
They came out with good numbers: 8, 12, 11, 10. Any of those subjects that would have, apart from White House Pets, would have piqued your interest to know a bit more?
Vuelta is always interesting to me because my little claim to fame is that my dad was a cycling mechanic on both the Tour de France and the Vuelta.
Oh.
So that's my little claim to fame.
Tremendous. Andy, any of those that you would have thought, wouldn't have minded studying that for 3 months?
Not my favourite, if I'll be honest with you. If you give me those 4 to study, I'd have done the same as Baz and gone for White House Pets. I think
absolutely
a bit more fun. But you know, you can watch Mastermind any given week, and you get 4 that you really fancy. So you've got to take the rough with the smooth, those sort of things. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. Even if you think you find one that you fancy, I mean, I know, having done it myself. I mean, I did it not that long ago and did 6 Feet Under. And
yeah.
There is nothing that drains the joy out of a much-loved TV program than having to watch it. And so people are phoning you up and saying, "Do you fancy a beer?" And you're like, "No, I've got 3-hour-long episodes to watch." I've not seen an episode from my appearance on Mastermind. I've not seen an episode of 6 Feet Under to this very day.
Okay.
It hurts.
When were you on, Baz? How long ago were you on?
I can't remember. About 20. Actually, I say quite recently. I think it was about 2012, 2013.
Yeah, that is recent in our books, isn't it?
Yeah, in your book it is.
So Andy, what did you do when you were on?
I did the life and films of John Belushi from the Blues Brothers. So
nice.
mine was quite niche as well, but the sort of like level of questions was much harder than I thought it was going to be. So they've obviously took a look at this guy and thought, well, he died at the age of 33. So you know, let's go a bit deeper with this, because it's you could have done the life and times of Jesus Christ and got harder questions, I think, or easier questions, I think. But it was. I'm trying to think what year it was. I think it was 2003 or 2004. So a good 10 years before you, Baz, I think. Pretty much.
Well, I got questions on something that flashed. I actually looked at it back, and I got questions on, I think, 4 words that flashed across the screen and appeared on the screen for a grand total of 6 seconds.
Oh, crikey!
And it's like, yeah.
Well, it can expose you like that, can't it? We've had Chris Dyson asking a very meta question: could you do Mastermind as a specialist subject? We have had somebody do John Humphreys as a specialist subject for a celebrity one when he was hosting. But yeah, I mean, Mastermind champions.
Well, only Connect are not afraid of getting meta on occasion, are they?
No, absolutely not. No, very self-referential. And Gerard's saying Magnus. Someone did Magnus. Yeah, somebody's done Magnus as well. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's been going since 1970 something or other. So 50 years, give or take.
I think I'd probably be a little bit cuter than that and do the history of Caithness Crystal. I'll try that again with my teeth in. The history of Caithness Crystal. That'd be quite nice.
Caithness Crystal bowls given out as prizes on TV quiz shows.
Yeah.
Narrow it down.
Yeah.
I do think Sally gave us, probably, without preempting anything you guys may say, probably the answer of the night with the name Misty Malarkey Yin Yang.
Yes.
Yes. Perfectly delightful. So yeah, at half time, she was in the lead. Had done very well, and Matthew, edged the lead out to 18 points after his general knowledge, but he never really got a run going. Ended with a very topical answer of Joe Rogan.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Which, yes, they couldn't have planned that better, because now a lot more people know who he is than perhaps would have done otherwise. Susan...
I thought it was extremely well balanced, the general knowledge. In fact, I mean, we all keep our scores, don't we? And I scored exactly the same on all 4 sets. I'm not telling you what it was, but it was exactly the same on all 4 sets.
Interesting.
I think I took a bit to warm up. I was a bit lower on the first one, and then I was consistent with the next three. So I think it was not too bad. Just need to start a bit earlier and do a bit of brain warm up, I think.
Yeah,
indeed. Chris is saying he saw Misty Malarkey Yin Yang at the Borderline in 1993. He knew them before they were famous. So, yeah, I thought they were balanced, and actually, you noticed that each of them got a question on film directors, for example, which I thought Martin's Terrence Malick answer was really good. Actually, thought it was very strong.
It felt a little bit like a sort of like a quiz league set tonight. Everything was matched in pairs, and it was good balance. You couldn't really said that you prefer one set of those against another. I don't think so. Somebody's doing something right at Mastermind nowadays, and I think just in general, and I don't know whether I'm out the loop with this. It feels like a lot of the questions are a lot more concise nowadays as well. So I can remember being on the questions being so wordy that you've forgotten what the question was at the time it got to the end of it.
My first question on 6 Feet Under was basically, how did Nathaniel Fisher die in the pilot episode? Well, anyone who's seen anything of 6 Feet Under knows he's hit by a bus. But basically, the first question I had, it was a synopsis of the entire pilot, and I'm sat there going, it's a bus, it's still a bus, still a bus, it's a bus, still a bus. And then when it actually came to the end, I almost, just for a giggle, said, pass.
But if you'd have done that, you could have lost the game like tonight, like poor old Sally tonight.
But no, it literally was. If it was, it was getting on for a 30-second question. It was ludicrous.
Yeah, but I mean, you're right. I think, Andy. Particularly specialist subject questions are shorter. You get hardly any now of the ask a question, somebody goes to answer, and then he goes into a second sentence, which used to be the bane of contestants' lives in the John Humphreys era. So I think that's a lot better. General knowledge seems punchier than perhaps it was previously. Gerard has chipped in with he got 10, 13, 13, 14. So actually, maybe, Andy, you weren't that far off the mark if you struggled on the first one, because that would be pretty much not struggled, but did worse on the first one, because that's pretty much the pattern that Gerard's repeating.
I will say what I did. I got a flat 14 across the lot.
Yeah.
I made a note of it. I got a 12, a 15, and 2 14s. So give or take, it's all the same, isn't it?
Yeah, broadly consistent. So you mentioned it, Sally and the pass, and I think
schoolboy error, Sally. Come on.
I mean, we know. I mean, it is the thing everybody says: don't pass, don't pass, don't pass. Of course, when you're in that chair, funny things can happen to your mind. If you can't even think of an incorrect answer to give to just move on, I can see how it would happen. But
I think it's probably. I mean, it's not in the spirit of the quiz, is it? Now, just saying, Man United, just to say something.
Yeah, but I think that annoys people if people are just answering Smith.
Yeah. So is it time for a rule change, Baz? Is it time they tweaked it and add some other method for a tiebreaker or something? I don't know. It just seems to takes the edge off it a bit, because technically speaking, she didn't answer any less, did she? It just annoys me a little bit.
I think the answering Smith nonsense is really annoying, and it will alienate viewers. What I did quite like, I think it was a few years ago. If somebody didn't, it was a guy I think who plays in QLL, and if he didn't know an answer, he'd name check one of his mates.
I
mentioned a Mastermind.
I'll go you one better. The lad who got me into doing TV quizzes way back in the day, he was a guy called Don, and his claim to fame is he was on something like season 1 of 15 to 1 with William G. Stewart. So he'd gone to broadcast and he'd watch it in the pub with his mates, and he was a big Oldham Athletic fan. And Oldham Athletic used to have a player called Roger Palmer. And when
Palmer.
Right, there you go. So he was a veteran, and they used to bring him on. He was about 38, and he'd come on as a sub for the last 10 minutes, and he'd always score the winning goal. All that sort of stuff. So when he came on, all the Oldham fans would shout, "Ooh, Roger Palmer, ooh, Roger Palmer." So his mates in the pub bet him 50 quid each. This is going back to the early 90s, so it's a lot of money. 50 quid that he wouldn't answer Roger Palmer to an answer on 15-1. And he done that thing of going down to the last life, and he got, which Shakespeare character did it? And I just saw this grin come on his face, and he went, ooh, Roger Palmer. And he stopped the answer. He stopped the show. He said, did you hear the question right? He said, yes, I did. He said, but that's £150 for me.
Brilliant. Palmer said, she said her mum's maiden name for one answer.
Oh,
That's
good.
a nice little tribute there, Pam. I can wholeheartedly support that one. Ooh, Roger Palmer. No, I did also think when I first went on Mastermind, if I didn't know the answer, I would say the name of people I knew. But actually, in the moment, I was too focused on trying to give the best answer or something close to being correct to think about doing it. You know, sometimes a comedy answer is good, isn't it? Barry, you must have done the odd comedy answer.
Well, I do remember I was on...
not on purpose, yeah, no.
Well, yeah, I was on Clever Dicks, and the question was, in which made-up language does lubby-lubing mean making love? And people had some guesses, and I thought, I've got this. I've nailed this. Bang, Polari. It was Nads. Clockwork Orange. But it sounds better in Polari to me.
It does.
Lubby lubing. Lubby lubing down with your lallies, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what I can say because I can't speak Polari, but you'll have to teach me. So Sally missed out on pass, and that was unfortunate. Martin, good player, had the best general knowledge score of everybody, so you can't begrudge him.
No, it's
very good.
He played it right. He played the game right, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Them's the rules. So yeah, decent episode, I thought. Anything else to add on Mastermind before we move on?
No.
Cool. So, University Challenge. I thought Edinburgh at one point. I thought, are they going to run through this episode? Without letting Trinity in. I think they got the first 6 buzzes. And what was impressive was the first 4. The 4 different players.
Yeah,
showing that they're a really good rounded team. But really, that game was never in doubt. Whereas Mastermind was exciting right to the end.
I thought. What sometimes winds me up about University Challenge is the amount of time conferring. Edinburgh just didn't mess about, did they?
No. I think you might. There's a good chance you're looking at the winners there tonight. I thought. There's a bold prediction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think that there are some very good teams in there. We've seen Imperial, who are excellent. We've seen Birmingham, who are excellent, and the team who beat Birmingham, whose name has skipped my brain. Anyway, team that beat Birmingham recently were awesome as well. But yeah, Edinburgh have to be up there. They're a superb. It's just a superb ensemble, and you've got Ben Russell Jones in seat 1. Picking up everything from fuzzy logic to Prague to Malevich. And then chipping in on the bonuses. Ben's going to be with us on the 21st. Hang on, let me think. 22nd of January. Next time they're on, he's going to be with us, which will be good. But he was great. Thomas was picking up all sorts of things all over the place. They were just such a good team. And then you had Karuna Ratner's Silicon, which I just saw there was that kind of the offhand way off where he was guessing. I just loved his
his hand gestures. He's got a fantastic repertoire of hand gestures, and I just thought, as I say, they conferred quickly, and just got on with it, and I really like that.
Yeah, and I mean Trinity, because they were well behind when they did get in. Trinity were going like the clappers to try and get through the questions, to try and get back into it. And Trinity clearly are a good team. Some of those buzzes were great, but it was just Edinburgh were just so quick. They didn't put many feet wrong. Thomas gambling on the Olympic question,
Yes.
the new Olympic
yeah.
sport
Yeah.
is going in on climbing. You know, there's probably it was probably going to be climbing or skateboarding.
Yeah.
And he just went slightly wrong.
Great knitwear from Brecker as well, I thought. Very Norwegian. Sorry, I'm back on my clothes again. I do apologize.
Well, there's often a strong knitwear game on quiz shows. Barry, I think you've been partial in the past.
No, I'm partial to some pastel knitwear every now and then.
I did think one of the moments of the night was when Thomas buzzed in for the Scottish administrative area and said Strathclyde.
Yeah.
And then went, oh no,
Stirling.
Stirling. And then Kim buzzes in and picks it up. I thought
but he acknowledged it though. He acknowledged it. He just went, Stirling.
You gotta take it. Chris is saying, so in all of the contestants on UC, when I get the same wrong answer as them, I take it as a plus. Yeah, if you're clever enough to come up with the same wrong answers, then that's quite a.
Yeah, I must admit, I don't think I've gone down Whistler territory for that one.
No, I wouldn't.
No, it really did look.
But I do know somebody who's recorded it or put pause on Mastermind one night and replayed it and then knew all the answers and played it back as live with his missus and was answering them like that all night. So a bit of a hint for you all there.
Yeah, you only get away with that once, so don't you? If you get spotted another time.
Yeah, then, it's on at 1:30 tonight. Love that one. Yeah.
There was one starter that to me yelled Barry. Do you know which one that was, Barry?
A starter? No, go on.
The one where there was a mention of Parmentier.
Oh, the potato one.
I just thought as soon as they kind of mentioned Parmentier, I thought, well,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
potatoes. I said, I was thinking, yeah, you'll be not only thinking that's potatoes, you'll be thinking, and you prepare it by doing this, this, and this, being the king of lifestyle as you are.
Well, I like the mention of tartiflette, which is on one of my favourite words anyway.
How's it go, Barry?
Tartiflette. It's a kind of pastry. It's a kind of potato and cheese flan. It's very nice.
There you go, everybody.
Everybody else would call it flan in Rochdale, but
tartiflette. Yeah. It sounds like a term of endearment, my little tartiflette.
I think we should start using that from now on for people. I think.
Oh dear. Pam's saying someone looked up the answers in a crossword at lunchtime and learned them all to impress me on the train on the way home. Oh,
tell you what, did you get the number, Pam? That's the question. That's dedication.
Oh, sneaky. But yes, did it impress you, Pam? Did it do the job? We need to know.
And reader, I married him.
Yeah, that if you ever go on Only Connect, that would be your interesting fact. That you can, somebody chatted me up by pretending to know how to do a crossword. Pam says he was usually useless.
What the crossword guy or the husband? Which one?
Gerard says you're in there, Pam.
Yeah, you're quite right.
Pam, be careful what you wish for on this one.
She knew he'd fiddled it. There you go. No, there's no getting them past Pam. She is sharp as a tack.
There was one answer on tonight's that triggered off one of my favourite quiz questions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll have heard this one, Baz. Who is older? Is it Gary Newman or Gary Oldman?
Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
I can never remember which way it is, but I think Gary Newman is older than Gary Oldman
by 13 days.
Yeah,
that's how close it is as well.
Yeah.
Love that one. That one goes in. You know when you got your quiz question, and you go, "Oh, that one's not right. I'll do something else. I'll do the Gary Newman question."
Yeah.
It's always a good one, isn't it? Particularly, I suppose, when people go, "Who the hell's Gary Newman?"
Newman,
But they knew him tonight, so fair play. So we had some good bonuses, goats. What's not to like. about goats. Robotic music. Yes, that was the Gary Newman one. But yeah, I just think, coming back to what you said, Andy, Edinburgh just had an all-round performance. They weren't weak in any area. They had the science and the maths, they had the literature, they had history, they had just about everything you can want, and they were fast with it. So they've got to be serious contenders. They've won one. They now have to win one of the next 2 games to get into the semi-finals, if I understand the tournament structure correctly. So they're half the way there, and you wouldn't bet against them, has to be said.
No, I couldn't see them losing 2 more, personally. Not the next 2 anyway.
No, indeed. What do we have here? Great working out on the goat horns and EMF. Yeah, that was a really good fetch on the emo. That was in the music. Music.
I'll let you guess. Did I get it off the science question or the 90s pop question bit of it?
I like the way that one of them was humming it, but I think I'd say they got there. It's a really good pluck. When somebody has just fished something out there, it was tremendous. We've got a comment here from Matt J. Puzzle Guy J. Hi, Matt. Matt J. from Palante. That's from the Connections Online Quiz League. If I'm able to watch this, I'm already missing OC. Matt, good to have you here. And congratulations. I believe Palante beat Crabs, the reigning UK Connections Online Quiz League team at the weekend to get into the World Championship of Connections Online Quiz League's next round or whatever the structure is. But fantastic, because Crabs have been unbeatable in the UK version, and that's basically only Connect but played online by anybody who wants to play. And John Stitch will thank me if I say the deadline for registering for Connections Online Quiz League is coming up very, very soon. If you want to play as an individual or submit a team, go to quizcentral.net and you can join in the fun. But it is tremendous fun. Barry, you are a host of Connections
but please don't let that put you off. It is really good.
But Barry, you've been on Only Connect, as have you, Andy, haven't you? I think. I don't know if you're in Connections Online Quiz League, Andy.
I'm not, but I should look it up as a good viewer would do.
You'd love it, Andy.
I mean, the quality of the questions are so good, aren't they, Barry? And the fact that you've got so many Only Connect alumni and brilliant quizzes all playing it, the standard of play is just phenomenal. As a host, Barry, what's it like watching that all go on?
I absolutely love it. I mean, I played in the first series with my actual Only Connect teammates, and that was great. It was superb. But hosting it just takes it to another level. One, I get to play the game anyway in the host game on a Sunday, and then just seeing different people. And what I absolutely love about it is, you go into your OQLs and your QLLs, and it is still 80-90% male. COQL is not like that. There's a lot of all-female teams. There's a heck of a lot of mixed teams. There are very few all-male teams. And I think that's perhaps because, perhaps we're not that great at lateral thinking or thinking around problems. We're just better at answering stuff. And it's I bet it's not 50-50, but I bet it's pushing 60-40.
It certainly is a high proportion, or higher proportion we would normally see in the quiz world. And Catherine just talking about what we said to Matt. Congratulations, Matt. Chris saying, Andy and Baz are more than making up for the lack of OC. There you go, guys. Your first time on
only
Quizzy
you
Monday.
were being serious, you little
Your first time on Quizzy Monday, and you're already the official OC replacement. So that'll keep us going. I have to say, I thought Paxman was on form tonight. Because we know he's got Parkinson's, and sometimes it's clear that it affects him more than others. Tonight, I thought he was on quite sharp form. I thought he was a little bit ungenerous, but amusing when he said to Trinity when they finally buzzed in, "You're awake. Good."
But that's classic Paxman.
It really is.
It would be unusual if he didn't say something, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And so he was he was on good form. I thought and that's why I think it cracked on at a decent pace tonight. But that kind of thing of buzz. There was one bit where Trinity had buzzed in and not got it, and Edinburgh just didn't have an answer. And he said, "Well, somebody buzz." And then Ben just took one for the team, buzzed in, and said, "Glove puppet." You've got to admire the guy, really, because there was very little to be gained from answering a question to which he had no idea what the answer was. So well done to Ben. Any other questions that jumped out at you on University Challenge tonight?
No.
I did make some notes. I did actually write things down as I was playing tonight.
We had trees, we had physics in pop, medieval history, the artist Wiley, maps, stars and photometry, the Elder Scrolls, they seem to nail that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fish, SPH, robotic music, language families, books of 73, green flags, paintings, musicians, goats, place names, and subatomic particles. There's a real mix, and sometimes we don't get that sort of mix on UC.
What I did notice that there weren't too many puzzly ones. I noticed that they've come up with at the moment sort of puzzly ones where you kind of matching periodic table symbols with postcodes and all sorts of nonsense like that. There didn't seem to be any of those tonight.
Yeah, there was none of that. There was none of the here's Shakespeare titles in Urdu
Dutch,
or whatever, and try and work it out. So interesting. There were fewer puzzles, and the picture around it was maps, which were, some people say they're not pictures, but then the art was legitimately pictures.
Was there just the one music tonight as well, from memory?
We had the electronic music,
and that was it. I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
no
you're right.
classical music. Goodness me.
I know, what is the world?
No classicals.
Yeah, he certainly buzzed in well on Kraftwerk, I have to say.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
Very nice buzz.
But given the title of the bonuses, if I didn't know anything, I'm guessing Daft Punk for all three. So I'm quite surprised we didn't get Daft Punk.
Well,
Gareth, in Rochdale, where Baz and I live, there's a music festival every year. And last year they had, 2 years ago, I keep saying last year, 2 years ago, they had a Daft Punk tribute act on.
Go on,
and I know they were just called a Daft Pink or something. I don't know, but it was two lads in Lycra with crash helmets playing Daft Punk CDs, and they must have been, I don't know. One of the lads in my band said, "We are in the wrong game here because they're getting paid a damn sight more than we are for playing somebody else's CD in a costume." And I thought, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's it. So I want to make a few quid. Daft Punk tribute. Crash helmet CDs. There you go.
I mean, I said Daft Punk for the Kraftwerk starter question. I knew Gary Newman, but I said Daft Punk for the other two. Valerie just goes, "You'll just say Daft Punk for everything." It is like, well, yeah, partly, but the last one did sound like Daft Punk.
I went for Hazel O'Connor on the middle one. I just thought robots, but no, just completely way off the mark with that
one. Gerard is asking, do the puzzly ones really belong in a quick fire quiz? It's sped on well without them tonight. And going back to your point earlier, Barry, about length of time conferring, the puzzly ones do lead to longer conferring and lower scores. So, where do you stand on the merits of having them?
I don't mind a few puzzly ones. I think, to be honest, I think the ones where the conferring goes on much too long is with the music ones, particularly with classical music. They seem that they'll play half an overture to you, and those really tend to go on a lot. I don't mind a puzzly one unless it's it's not going to be only Connect style puzzly, but which Shakespeare character is made up by what is it, plutonium, carbon, and potassium. Nah, not on with something like that, is it?
No. I think it has its place, but they're the ones I tend to not do so well on. So, personal preference would probably just be asking stuff I know about.
Yes.
You know,
We know you've got a problem with doing maths in a quiz, Gareth. So,
oh geez, I'm so bad,
I've
bad.
I've got a problem doing maths full stop, let alone whether it's in the quiz or not.
Well, there was a lovely moment. There was one of the questions, one of the starters, which was a maths one and some sort of definition. I think it ended up with Nyogi saying the exponential function, but the question started about 3 words in. Thomas has just picked up his glass of water and he's just
yes, I know it's
that. And he's drinking and he's like, that would be me. That would be me. Gerard says they suit me, but I wondered how people felt. So he likes the puzzle ones. So does Pam.
Yeah.
And Chris Dyson said Hazel O'Connor too, as did Gerard. So there you go. A lot of commonality, right? So we know Edinburgh through. We know that this round is going to go on for a while, but we look forward to seeing Edinburgh again. And as I say, we got Ben Russell-Jones as one of our guests later in February. I'm going to now pop Andy and Barry into the waiting area so that they can have a drink or do whatever they need to do for 5 minutes whilst I give you the news from the world of quiz. And when we come back, Andy and Barry will be here to answer any questions you might have or I might have about getting on TV shows, quiz shows, game shows, their experiences. We know there's some anecdotes lurking in amongst them because we've heard a few tonight. But if you've got anything you want to ask to two people who've been on more quiz/game shows than most people, then pop something in the chat and we will fire them in their direction when we come back. So, Andy, Barry, see you in a few minutes' time. So, let me put it in that orientation. So, welcome to Quiz Week. And if we move on to the winners of Quiz of the Week and Quiz Team of the Week last week. First was Victoria Gross for her victory in the International Culture Challenge. Second was Chris Ottolino for his performance in OQL USA. And third was Rob Hanson for his performance, actually in multiple competitions, OQL and QLL last week. Team of the Week, unsurprisingly, were the Data Wizards, winners, champions of Only Connect. Second were the Wednesday Academic Purists from OQL USA. Third were Amoebas, who play in both OQL and QLL. Don't forget, you can nominate a team or a player at tinyurl.com/ATQ nominations. And we'll take any nominations through till 5 o'clock next Monday. We have been running, as always, our competition. This is the answer. What is the question? The winner of the answer, Cat, was Andrew Fraser with this question. Lord's resident Peter, the only non-human to have received an obituary in wisdom, was what type of animal? Congratulations to Andrew. Now, on Sunday, we released a new answer in need of a question. That answer was crown, and we've got 36 questions that have been submitted. You can now vote on the long list at tinyurl.com/WITQ crown. Then later in the week, we will take that long list down into a short list based on your votes, and we'll find the winner, which we'll announce next week. Don't forget, we are still on our push to try and attract 1,000 subscribers to this channel, so we need your help. Make sure you like our videos and you subscribe to this channel. That will help YouTube to recommend us to other people like you, and that will help us to grow, and we will be very, very happy for it. So please subscribe and like. And now, just to move on to the news of the week. In the Quiz World Series, it's a month into the year, and we just had the second Mimir tournament final of the year. Evan Lynch, Yogesh Raut, Victoria Gross, and Dylan Minerick contested the second Quiz World Series final. And it was Victoria Gross who came out on top, and she did it in style. She got more of her own questions correct than anybody scored in total out of the other players. So congratulations to Victoria. And that is yet another individual nomination for Quizzer of the Week for her. In OQL, David Harris scored the only full house of the week, and so gets a richly deserved nomination. A team of the week nomination goes to the Hollywood Upstairs Medical College for their top scoring performance this week. In the Asian Quiz League, it's back. It's season 3, and there are now 5 divisions. Along with that expansion has come an influx of new players, including some from outside of Asia, including Victoria Gross of the USA, Tero Kalialeva of Finland, and Pat Gibson of the UK. In the Premiership, on paper, the standout match of week 1 was Matunga, who finished third in seasons 1 and 2, against Aardvarks, the season 1 champions. Two teams with a good shot of winning the title, but Matunga took the honours with the top score of the week with 40 points. The match of the round turned out to be Remembrance of Things Fast against 120 Days of Sodor. Remembrance finished season 2 in second place, and it looked to be a rude introduction to the AQL for 120 Days of Sodor, as they were trailing at 10 points at one point in the match, only to come storming back in title before the final set of mystery boxes. They maxed out their mystery boxes, so did their opponents, and it ended up in a 39-39 tie. Now, who are 120 Days of Sodor? They are Victoria Gross, Troy Meyer, Tim Polly, Brandon Blackwell, Shane Whitlock, and Guy Jordan. This American super team are conquering all territories right now, and who would bet against them winning in the Asian Quiz League? Defending champions, the Syndicate had an easy start against the three-man Caveat team, and there was an easy win for ZEF. Aging Bulls managed a small upset against Zero Gravitas, and Quiz Dubai squeezed out a win over CIDs. The nomination for Team of the Week, though, goes to International Men and Women of Mystery, who get a nomination for their performance last week, particularly for acing the mystery boxes. 5 players got all of their questions correct. One of those is the already nominated Victoria Gross. The others were Pritam Upadhyay, Aditya Gadre, Amrit Pritom Chetia, and Srinath Bashayam. So they all get nominations. On to OKR USA, and there's a team nomination to Puppies and Rainbows for their 1-point win over Sobermetrics in Division 2, and 5 players got 7 twos. Daniel Edwards, Chris Ottolino, Benjamin Gross, Shane Whitlock, and Ben Kitchen. Nominations go to those. In the QLL Cup Plate President's Cup, QLL update. I'm not saying QLL Cup Round 2 was brutal, but Anne Gavigan and Jenny Ryan were the only 2 players to even score 6 twos last week. So in the context of the night, those scores were worth a lot more. They both get nominations. In the Plate, Kevin Ashman and Dom Tate were the only players to score 7 twos and get nominations. President's Cup returned at the weekend, and Richard Brooks of Westminster put in the star performance, notching 7 twos. Team performance nominations go to Sussex for their 50-point haul in President's Cup, and to Jacobs Crackers for overturning a 19-point handicap win to win by 13 points. Shoutouts also to Bishop's Fist for their first ever knockout successes, winning 2 matches in the Plate. Unfortunately, one of those was against my team. And to Nick Briggs for top scoring in the Plate preliminary match for them. In Quiz Bowl, it was the ACF Regionals at the weekend, and the final was contested between Oxford A and Cambridge A, with the Dark Blues coming out on top. Edinburgh were third and Imperial were fourth. The top player was Mehmet Tatoglu of Oxford B, who takes an individual nomination. We know who the 4 semi-finalists are in the Quizzing World Cup, and they are Scotland B, who will play Astatine Hunger Force, and Broken Warriors, who will play Australia Gold. Performance of the week was from Astatine Hunger Force, who beat Team Northeast in the highest aggregate match of the round. On Merseyside, Liverpool pulled off the result of the night by beating league leaders Southport and Formby. A nomination goes to them. Ormskirk, who had a bye week, and Warrington, who won both their matches, have 2 games in hand over Southport and Formby, so the next round of matches could well see one of those teams move to the top of the table. Top scorer of the week was Dag Griffiths. And TV and radio, the big news was this week that in America, Amy Schneider's run on Jeopardy came to an end, but her 40-game streak gets her a nomination for Quizzer of the Week. Mastermind, we saw the winner tonight, Martin, and on University Challenge, we saw Edinburgh, and Edinburgh get a nomination for their rather comfortable win tonight. So now a recap of all the nominations, and I'll put it large. So we have a lot of people. We have Kevin Ashman, Srinath Bashayam, Richard Brooks, Amrit Pritom Chetia, Daniel Edwards, Aditya Gadre, Anne Gavigan, Dag Griffiths, Victoria Gross, Benjamin Gross, David Harris, Ben Kitchen, Chris Ottolino, Jenny Ryan, Amy Schneider, Dom Tate, Mehmet Tatoglu, Pritam Upadhyay, Shane Whitlock. And for Team of the Week, we have Astatine Hunger Force, Edinburgh University, Hollywood Upstairs Medical College, International Men and Women of Mystery, Liverpool, Oxford A, Puppies and Rainbows, and Sussex. And you can vote now at tinyurl.com/QW31Jan, and that will run to the end of the week. And I think that is it for the news. There's been rather a lot this week, but a lot's happened. Get your votes in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But I am now going to bring us all back onto the stream and resume Quizzy Monday. So, Andy and Barry, welcome back. I need a rest after that. There's so much news, but there's a hell of a lot.
Breathe in, breathe.
Going on. Blimey O'Reilly. So, Andy, how many shows have you been on, do you reckon? Quiz TV.
I knew you were going to ask me that. I think it's about 37, 38 maybe.
Wow.
And we get into some blurry lines as to whether cookery game shows are game shows or not, and all that sort of stuff. But it's in the 30s anyway. Let's say that much.
Okay, so David St. John might be starting to get a bit worried that you might take his Guinness World Record.
We laugh at David St. John.
David St. John's nowhere near as many as I have, and he knows it. As last time I spoke to him, because he still hasn't overtaken it. So, but if he wants to keep touting that one, that's up to him.
Bless him. He's written a book, as he likes to tell people.
Yeah, I haven't read it. Yeah,
Barry, what was the first show you went on?
Well, after University Challenge years and years ago, the first one I did when I started thinking, I might try and do this, was actually 1 versus 100. And I turned up at the hotel for the Audition Palace Theatre, and it was full of people who knew each other from Deal or No Deal, and everyone was so wild and wacky and wisecracking and high-fiving each other, and I'm just like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm not enough of a character for this nonsense.
What?
I've learned since then, Gareth. But no, I just thought this isn't going to work because everyone's wisecracking, and I'm like, oh God, tedious people. Not only did I get on, I became the first ever one to face the 100. But having said that, obviously randomly selected.
Of course, you were randomly selected.
Yes.
Not at all passed.
Yeah.
And did you win, Barry?
No. What happened was, because I was the first to actually play the game, I had no terms of reference for how the gameplay would work. Obviously, if you go on Millionaire, if you get to a certain thing, you've done so well, and you double it and you do so well. But with 1 versus 100, you didn't know how the game was going to be won. So I got my tactics completely wrong, because the game had never been played before. But what they then did, they showed it out of sequence. So I instead of being the first one, I was about the 7th one on, and people must have been looking at me going, has this idiot never seen the game played before? I'd never seen the game played before.
And of course, there'll be some people who'd be watching saying, it's been on for 6 weeks. How can he not have a clue?
Yeah. Well, the other thing was they had this thing that the setup was going to be that the audience were on your side and all the 100 were against you. So they said to the 100, right, go on, give him some stick, boo him, jeer him, whatever. And after my show, they said, actually, that doesn't really work because there's more people in the 100 than there is in the audience. Yeah. So people must have been watching it. And for 5 people, the 100 have been perfectly pleasant to them. I come on and I'm getting dogs abuse from the 100. People must have thought he must be a proper nasty piece of work.
Oh, bless. Chris has asked you, Andy, are there any you regret on missing out on, Andy?
Not really.
You haven't missed out on that many.
I think that's fairly true. I've never done the chase. I think I would still like to do that at some point. I think that would be it's always a good challenge. I think I'd like another swing at Mastermind at some point. I wouldn't mind having another go and seeing if I've actually learned anything in 20 years. I think that'd be so. The knowledge might be there, but the speed's definitely not, because you don't answer them as quick the older you get. That I do know. I suppose if ever the day comes when I can retire, I think I will go and do Countdown. I'm like you. I can't do the maths. I'm all right with the anagrams, but I struggle with the maths. So I might just go to say one day that I've done it. So there are a few ambitions left in there at the minute, and you never know. There might be a few in the pipeline yet. So fingers crossed. Okay.
Might be a few in the pipeline. We know what you mean. Okay. So you've both been on quite a lot. If somebody watching has never been on a TV show and is interested in applying, is there one tip you could give to help them stand out, whether it's in the application or in the audition process? Barry,
Well,
how would you? Oh, go on.
Sorry, Baz.
I would just say, be nice. You know, you're dealing with researchers who, you know, get put upon quite a lot. They don't need your nonsense. So be polite, particularly when, what I would say is particularly when you're actually in the green room and in studio, be nice to them, because they've got loads of people shouting in their ear holes, do this, do that. They don't need it from you. And the chances are they'll be doing another show 6 months down the line, and they'll remember the people who weren't nice to them.
Yeah, they will.
That's what I would say.
I'd very much echo that. I think when you put in your application together, and then I'm old enough to remember when you had to ring up and ask them to send you one in the post that you then filled in by pen and cut out a photograph of yourself and stuck it back in the post. It's that fine balance between standing out and not being a dickhead, really. If I'm being, you know, quite frank about it. So even if your hobbies are walking and reading, don't put walking and reading. put something else, and it's a bit like a job description, isn't it? You've got to present the best version of yourself on the TV. So if you and I wouldn't say lie, but if you got some coins at home, say you're a coin collector, or if you've got a metal detector, you're a metal detectorist, and make a creative kind of character out yourself, because nobody's going to go around your house and check whether you've got a metal detector or not, are they? So it's like it's thinking about how you present yourself as you would do in a job situation. So it
doesn't mean you have to go out and buy a theremin, though. To be fair,
no.
I mean, who would go and buy a theremin just in case somebody wanted to check you'd got a theremin, Barry?
No, there will be people out there who will do that.
Yeah, but
to be fair, I've not touched it in months.
Hey!
Oh dear.
I think, you know, there is a bit about being yourself as well. I mean, I've seen people in auditions who nearly had a breakdown because it's kind of like they said, "Tell us a bit about yourself," and then they sort of had a, you know, well, my mother's just died, and you think, oh my god. But I've actually seen that in an audition, and I thought the poor guy needs bloody counselling. He don't need to come to go be on a game show. It was really quite, you know. So there's a bit of that goes on with it, and like you say, I mean, even for somebody who's done quite a few, you're probably only going to win 1 in 3. So think about why you're going on it. Think about the parameters of the show that you're going on, and by that I mean if you want to go and have a good day out and a lot of experience with your mates, go and do Eggheads, or go and do Tenable, or go and do something where you're going having a good time. It's not going to make you rich. You're not going to retire from going on those shows. Yeah. If you really want to go and pick something, go and I don't say do Millionaire. I don't even know how you get on that anymore. But do something that is do something that, be realistic about your chances, but then don't be underconfident either. So it's about a fine balance. Think about the reasons why you're doing it. If it's to go on, and with all due respect to him, if it's to be David St. John and go on and promote your singing career or your nightclub career or whatever it is, I'm all right with that. I'm fine. Go and get the exposure. But if you're going on because you've retired and it's something you've always wanted to do, that's fine too. And if you want to go and try and win some money, I'm cool with that as well. But just don't come back being disappointed, I suppose, is the advice. And it is a game show cliche, but you go with nothing and you come back with nothing. I've had a great day. If you're happy with that, keep doing them.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think if you go there thinking, I just want to enjoy, because the first show I ever did, I was hating my job. I was having a horrible time. And I just thought, I just want something different. And I got taken up to Manchester, put up in a hotel, got stupidly drunk the night before, and then filmed 2 episodes of a TV show and came back buzzing. And I didn't win, but I'd really enjoyed it. And I think if you go for a show and you think, I want to enjoy it, that's the baseline. And as long as that happens, then fine. And try not to put pressure on yourself, particularly when there's a large amount of money involved. Yeah. And it's hard, but that's not going to help. And, you know, but it is difficult because once you're in there, you do get caught up in kind of, you know, the fact that something might be in touching distance. And certainly 15-1 once they had cash prizes, you know, you know, it's a slightly different game than if you're winning a manky old Greek vase.
Yeah. I think I'd go with what Andy said. Make sure you bring something back. So when I went on 15-1, I didn't progress to the next round, but I came away from Glasgow thinking, I've made some bloody good telly there.
Yeah,
people will enjoy watching this, and you know, and that to me was as good as making the final and then not winning the 40 grand, Gareth.
I mean,
As did I. I made the final and didn't win the 40 grand either.
you perhaps weren't as ruthless as you could have been.
No, I think you had to be ruthless in that.
Oh, were you nice? Were you?
Situation? I was a little bit ruthless. But going back to what you said, Barry, about remembering you making good telly, to what degree are you conscious, you know, in the midst of the gameplay, that actually you also kind of want to make it entertaining? You don't want to be the Dower guy who's just going Paris, sublimation, da-da-da. But, you know, Barry, tell us about hamming it up. That's what I'm getting at.
Very especially subject, hamming it up on quiz shows. I think you have to be aware. I mean, there's been quite a few things just recently about people perhaps not coming across in the best light in quite a few shows. To say, you know, that's not important, I think is a bit naive. You've got cameras on you. You know, you want to present your best self, I think. And people say, oh, well, you know, the editors will do, you know, what the hell they like with it. I was once told, and it was on 101 Ways to Leave a Game Show. I was reminded, I said, look, you're not going to make me look an idiot, are you? And the guy said, the editors can only take stuff out.
Yeah.
If you said it, you said it. So just suppose you've appeared in a game show in Argentina saying, hi, I'm Barry and I'm mustard. Chances are you've said, hi, I'm Barry and I'm mustard. Editors can only remove stuff.
But you know what, though? I know people who've gone and said something and they've really regretted it and they've lost sleep over it and they've worried about what their friends are going to say and what their friends at work are going to say and all that sort of stuff. It's a game show. It's not. You haven't gone on Newsnight. You haven't said it on the 9 o'clock, you know, bulletin or anything, have you?
You haven't lied in Parliament or anything.
Well, no, absolutely. No, absolutely not. But that'd be a game show in itself, wouldn't it? Soon, that.
Just before we wrap up on this chat and indeed for the show, Barry, are you smarter than a 10-year-old? Now,
sorry, is that a question or the introduction to another question?
Well, I seem to remember when you were on that show that there was a fair degree of ham involved.
Oh, there was an enormous amount of ham because, you know, most quiz shows, apart from your masterminds and what have you, do like you to talk through your answer. Yeah. And I had one question. It was quite a lot of money, and the basic question was, who, born in 1905, has won more Oscars than anybody else? Now, I instantly thought, well, that's Walt Disney, isn't it? But you don't want to be the door guy that says Walt Disney. So you go through this whole mental process going, well, you can win Oscars for directing and acting and songs and, I don't know, animation. And then the light bulb came on, animation. Who do you think about when you think about anime? And all my mates are at home going, you tosser. But somehow this thought process got me to Walt Disney. And the people in the production team were happy with it, even though I think they suspected that they knew I was hamming it up a little bit.
You were on that about a fortnight before I was, weren't you? You were on the same run. I remember.
Well, you were on the big one though. I was on the Pound Shop Anton Deck one. I was on the Dick and Don one as well. I was on the Pound Shop one. Yeah, they didn't like me calling them Anton Deck actually. I don't know.
But you got to the last question, didn't you?
Yeah. What happened was I got 25 grand that I could have taken and I should have taken. Yeah. But I got the opportunity to gamble for 50,000 or lose to 23,500. And the production staff obviously clocked me completely. And they said, you do realise nobody's ever taken this gamble before.
Oh, they said that to me. They said,
yeah.
right.
What's more, we've got a glitter cannon backstage if anyone does.
Yeah, they did. They said that. They said, if you get it, if you go for it and get it, don't be shocked by the glitter cannon because we've only got the one.
Yeah, but to me, saying this has never been done before and there's a glitter cannon is basically a big red button saying, do not press this button. Of course I pressed the button. Of course I lost 23.5 grand.
Oh, I'm no way a better story at all, but I did exactly the same thing and I got to the 25 grand and I took it at that point.
Oh, good. I'm really pleased for you, Andy.
Because but I got astronomy. And it was like, oh, I'm not doing astronomy. These, you're gonna look really embarrassed. And then of course they gave you the question, and I knew the bloody answer. So I was the other way around. It was just, I wish I had a gambler. I wish we would have swapped episodes, Baz.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wouldn't do on TV?
A quiz show or just in general?
Come on, you've seen me on This Morning having my hair tinted live on television. There is nothing I wouldn't do, Gareth. You know that.
Naked Attraction, Barry?
No.
We found the limit.
Not for me either. No. I've got to go back to work. You know what I mean? How do people who go on Naked Attraction walk into the office on a Monday? How do they do that? I saw you, Janice. Yeah, very nice.
Indeed. And on that bombshell, we have to think about champagne moments of the evening. So what was the moment that most entertained you? Best answer, best performance, best question, best witticism, whatever. Barry, have you got an answer for me?
I think, well, I was hoping you were going to let me have the whole of last week, and then I would have absolutely chosen Jonathan Cairns' reaction to realizing that he'd won Only Connect, because, I know Jonathan and I just wanted to hug him, but I'm not allowed that. So I'm going to say that the lady who did Edith Cavell, her last throw of the dice with Bazooka, I thought was brilliant, because I thought it was a howitzer, so shows what I know.
Yeah, no, that's great. And showed you should always throw a guess out.
Always have a go at something,
yeah. Andy, how about you?
I'd go back to the top of the show that we started tonight, and I would probably say the girl Sally, who chose the presidential pets, because I just thought that was a joyful choice. And at some point, at some point, probably 6 months ago, she filled an application form and put that as a choice, and that was absolutely the right thing to do. And it's gone to air tonight. She'll be feeling a bit low about not having won, about doing that thing of doing one pass and losing out on it. But you know what, Sally? It's only a game show, and there'll be something else coming up. Have another go at it. Have another swing at something else, because you'll have a great time doing it. And I don't know what the rule is now, whether it's 6 months or whatever. Go back and do Mastermind again, because the amount of people I see going back on it again, you'll do all right. And think outside the box with your subject choice, because apparently the amount of Sopranos ones they get now, and the amount of other ones that have been done to death, are just not going to accept it anymore. So pick something that answer questions on what you know. There you go.
Excellent. We've got Chris Dyson saying nominate Ben, which was a nice little theme in University Challenge. But Gerard's back at test and do. White House Pets had sheer joy throughout her round, and she did indeed. And to be honest, as good as Edinburgh were, and they were brilliant tonight, nothing tops Misty Malaki Yin Yang for me. That was my moment. So a good night of entertainment from Mastermind and from University Challenge. And thank you so much to Andy and Barry for coming on tonight and giving us royal entertainment and chat with a distinctly Rochdale flavour. It's been very much appreciated having you both on. Don't forget that you can vote for Quizzer of the Week and Quiz Team of the Week at tinyurl.com/QW31Jan, and that you can vote for the what is the question at tinyurl.com/WITQ Crown. We'll put those in the description below once we've finished. And don't forget to like and subscribe. But thank you very much to everybody who's watched. Thanks to everybody who's posted comments and asked questions. We will be back next week where at least one of our guests, I do know who it is. It's Jason Hill, who will be talking about his mastermind experience. But we will hopefully have some more people as well with us. So we will see you all next week. Thanks once again to Andy and Barry. Have a great week and goodbye.